Hey guys, so I am filming this on my phone. I don't do that very often. I do have like an actual camera that I use to record my videos, but I don't feel like dragging that out and setting up the tripod, getting my new SD card out. But I do have something important to talk about. I mentioned in my Newt Scamander character analysis that I had dealt with some rude people at work, and my glasses are all gross, and I can barely see out of them. So I am a hostess at a Cracker Barrel. For those of you that don't know what that is, if you're international, that is a restaurant chain. They're usually pretty close to the interstate, but I'm a hostess at a restaurant, and normally it's not that bad. I'm sorry, I feel like my tongue's getting cut on one of my teeth. Normally all the guests, all the customers that come into the restaurant for lunch, dinner, breakfast, whatever meal they've decided to stop for, normally those people are pretty nice. But Friday wasn't good. One, I had been there for 7 hours. Two, at the beginning of my shift, I had 2 parties, not just one, but 2, that decided to be rude to me. One was convinced that I was lying and did not sit them where they wanted to be seated, just simply because I didn't want to. That was wrong. If I had known the server was going to have an open table within, a few minutes, I would have said, hey, do you mind waiting? But I did not know that. The people that were at this particular server's table, I had just sat, so I thought it might be a while. And this group of people did not seem like the kind of people that were willing to wait. So I said, I don't know how long it's going to be. Do you mind having another server? And they said, as long as it's a good server, we don't mind. So I had another really good server, takes her time and everything, to make sure that the customer is satisfied, the guest is happy. So I sat them with her. The problem was, I didn't realize that where I had sat them, they could see the server that they wanted, what he was doing. He was helping another server clear off some tables because all of his tables were taken care of for the time being. Their food wasn't up yet. They had their drinks. So he had opted to help another server bust some tables. Our servers, unless it's a weekend, typically bust their own tables, at least during the day. And we were kind of busy, but it wasn't crazy busy. We weren't anywhere close to being on a wait, but still. Most tables were full or had not been cleaned off. But this group of people saw the server that they wanted helping another server clear off tables, just, being a nice coworker. And they thought that those tables he was clearing off were in his section. And at some point a manager came up to me. I showed her the floor plan because I guess these people had complained. I showed her the floor plan. I'm like, he does not have any open tables. He was helping this person clean off theirs because she obviously wanted to know what was going on. because we have a counter on our floor plan program on each table that will show how long a table has been sat or cleared or dirty or whatever. So I showed her, and the times obviously showed that this group had been sat after all of these other tables have been sat. But my point is, please, when you go into a restaurant, during a lunch rush, dinner rush, whatever, during a busier time of the day, if you ask for a specific server or a specific table, and the host or hostess says that that particular server or table is not open yet, if you are willing to wait, please let your server know and don't be rude. Please, we're people. I thought I was going to be there for 8 hours, and then later on we slowed way down and I got sent home an hour early. But when it's busy, I cannot accommodate every request. Like, we usually can't say no to a guest. If they ask for something, we're not really supposed to say no. So, yeah. Then later on, I had another guest ask to be seated by a wall, but I didn't have a table by a wall in any of the open dining rooms because it wasn't like dinner rush or anything. It was middle of the afternoon, but strangely, we were pretty busy. But then again, it was a Friday, so I mean, Fridays are usually kind of busy all day, at least after breakfast. Once it starts getting closer to lunch, it kind of picks up and then never really slows down. But yeah. My point is, I know that you're hungry. Most people that stop in at this restaurant are tired from traveling, so they can be a little bit snippy. But if you are rude to restaurant staff, you are probably not a nice person in general. That is the read that I get off people. And I'm a nice person. I normally don't mind to sit them with a particular server who I may or may not have just sat, or put them by a wall or a window or whatever. But, I mean, just don't be rude to people. I wasn't looking forward to my shift that day because it was so long. Like, my shifts are normally 4 to 5 hours long, and then I was scheduled for 8 hours that day. Very weird. Very odd, especially since, we were scheduled to have 4 hosts there that night between like 5 p.m. and close, which was just weird, even on a Friday. We typically only have 4 hosts on a Sunday because Sunday is the busy day. But yeah. Like, I came home Friday night and just cried. Like, I thought I was going to be sent home early that day because of this first group, this first party. Turned out that, nope, they let me finish my shift, or at least most of it. Dinner time wasn't as busy as they were expecting, so yeah, they kind of started cutting people who had been there the longest, which I was okay with. I was exhausted. I wanted to go home anyway. But yeah, I got home and I cried, and my husband just asks me what's wrong, and I try and explain this, and he's like, okay, and just gives me a hug, brings me food, rubs my feet, just generally be a good husband. So yeah. But it doesn't cost you anything to be a decent human being and be nice to restaurant staff. It's busy. We're kind of stressed out because at lunch rush we were a little bit short-staffed. We'd had servers call in sick. I was the only host there, which I usually am during the day anyway. In the evenings we have 2 hosts, and then during the day we only have 1, except for Saturday and Sunday. But I mean, just try to be nice to people, please, especially restaurant workers. We can only do so much, especially when it's busy. But yeah, just try and remember when you stop in at a restaurant that the servers and the hosts and the managers, we're all people, and it may not be a good day for us. Also, if you go to a restaurant where there is a host and you're supposed to wait to be seated, please do not seat yourself. That screws up our floor plan. Servers get mad at you. Well, at the host, because they think you double sat them. I had a group of people seat themselves yesterday, and I had the server, who was brand new, come up to me and ask why. Why I had sat them at that table. Because it was like right next to the host stand. Like seriously, you just walk into that first dining room and there's that table. And it was an elderly couple, and one of them was on a walker. At first I thought, oh, they're just sitting there waiting for a server to bring a to-go order. So I didn't put it in that they had been sat. Yeah. Just please try and wait for the host or hostess to seat you. If you need a chair to sit on, if there's not benches or anything, just ask for a chair and we will bring you a chair. And really, I was going to seat them very, very close anyway, but I mean, this group had their own ideas. But yeah. Again, just try and be nice to people, especially in the service industry. I mean, like I said, it was busy. I could not accommodate everything. I wanted to, but I couldn't. Simple as that. So, I think that wraps up all my thoughts on this. I am going to get going about my day. Thanks for watching, and just try and remember everything that I've said. Bye.